One conquest changed the ancient world forever. The clash between Rome and Greece didn't just reshape empires, it decided the future of Western civilization for the next 2,000 years. This is the story of how Rome conquered the Greek world. Throughout human history, countless wars have been fought across continents and cultures. But few conflicts had such a massive impact on the future as Rome's conquest of Greece. The effects of these wars still echo through our modern world today. In this video, we'll cover the First and Second Illyrian Wars, four Macedonian Wars, the Seleucid War, the Aetolian War, and the Achaean War. If you enjoy deep historical content like this, please hit that subscribe button and share this video. It really helps us create more quality content for you. Let's travel back to the year 231 BC. The Mediterranean world was a dangerous place filled with constant warfare and political chaos. Just 10 years earlier, Rome had defeated the powerful Carthaginian Empire in the First Punic War, making Rome the master of the seas. Meanwhile, in the eastern Mediterranean, three massive kingdoms were fighting for control: Macedon, ruled by the descendants of Alexander the Great's generals; Ptolemaic Egypt, incredibly wealthy and ancient; and the Seleucid Empire, stretching from modern Turkey all the way to India. Caught between these giant powers were smaller kingdoms like Pergamon and the famous independent Greek city-states like Athens and Sparta. These were the two worlds about to collide: the rising military power of Rome in the west, and the ancient, sophisticated Greek civilization in the east. Our story begins in a region called Illyria, which covered modern Albania and the Croatian coast. The Greeks and Romans considered this a barbaric, half-civilized land. While the coastal areas had adopted some Greek culture and built cities, most of Illyria was ruled by dozens of small tribal chiefs who constantly fought each other. The Illyrians had a fierce reputation as warriors and, more importantly, as pirates. During the 230s BC, an energetic king named Agrian united most of the Illyrian tribes under his rule. He even convinced Greek lords like Demetrius of Pharos to join him. With this new power, Agrian attacked the neighboring kingdom of Epirus, which had grown weak after the death of their famous king, Pyrrhus. The Illyrians invaded deep into Epirus and captured their wealthiest city, Phoenix. However, King Agrian died shortly after this great victory. His wife, Queen Tuda, took power as regent for Agrian's young son. Under Tuda's rule, Illyrian piracy exploded across the Mediterranean. Illyrian pirates had been raiding merchant ships for years, but now it was getting much worse. They controlled more ports and launched bigger raids. Roman merchants began complaining loudly to the Senate about losing their ships and cargo. The economic damage was serious, and Rome decided to act. Surprisingly, Rome's first move wasn't to send their powerful legions. Instead, in 230 BC, they sent diplomats, two brothers from the Coruncanius family, to meet with Queen Tuda. The Roman ambassadors delivered their message in the harsh, direct style Romans were famous for. They told Tuda that the piracy must stop immediately. This wasn't a negotiation or a request, it was an ultimatum. Stop the piracy, or face war with Rome. Queen Tuda refused. Perhaps she couldn't control all the tribal pirates even if she wanted to. Or maybe she simply wasn't willing to bow to Roman threats. Either way, the Romans were furious. The situation became even worse when one of the Roman ambassadors was murdered, either by Tuda herself in anger during the meeting, or by pirates on his journey home. The murder of a Roman diplomat was the final straw. But Rome's decision to go to war wasn't just about revenge. The deeper reason was geopolitics. Rome didn't want any powerful rival controlling the Adriatic Sea. In 229 BC, late in the fighting season, Rome launched a massive invasion. 200 warships carrying 22,000 soldiers sailed toward Illyria. This was an overwhelming force. We don't have detailed records of the fighting, but we know the campaign was a complete Roman victory. Demetrius of Pharos, who governed the island of Corcyra for Tuda, immediately betrayed her and joined the Romans. Tuda's forces were defeated in every battle. By the spring of 228 BC, Queen Tuda had no choice but to accept a harsh peace treaty. The Illyrian kingdom was broken into smaller, weaker pieces. Piracy in the southern Adriatic was strictly forbidden. Rome withdrew their soldiers but left behind something more subtle and dangerous: their friendship. Being a friend of Rome sounded nice, but it really meant becoming an unofficial subject state. You did what Rome wanted, or else. One person who benefited greatly from this new order was the traitor Demetrius of Pharos. As a reward for switching sides, Rome gave him his own small kingdom. But Demetrius was ambitious. He wasn't satisfied with a tiny realm. Shortly after the peace, he married Trituda, the mother of the young Ardean king. By becoming the boy's official stepfather and regent, Demetrius essentially recreated the powerful Illyrian kingdom that Rome had just destroyed. Then he became even bolder. He started launching pirate raids against tribes that were allied with Rome. Demetrius was testing Rome's limits. When Rome didn't respond immediately, he thought thought they were either unable or unwilling to stop him. This was a fatal mistake. Rome was simply busy fighting a war against the Gauls in northern Italy from 226 to 222 BC. They hadn't forgotten about Demetrius. In the summer of 220 BC, Demetrius went too far. He led 90 warships on a grand piracy expedition, attacking cities all around the Adriatic Sea. This directly violated the treaty from 8 years earlier. Rome decided their former friend, Demetrius, now posed the same threat that Tuta had. Worse, he had betrayed their friendship, and Romans never forgave betrayal. Rome's response in 219 BC was massive, probably because they wanted to finish the Illyrian problem quickly before a new war with Carthage began. Demetrius tried to defend his two strongest fortresses, Dimale and Pharos, but the Romans captured Dimale in just 7 days. At Pharos, Demetrius made a desperate attack but was badly defeated. Demetrius himself escaped because he had hidden some warships in a secret cove. He abandoned his family to Roman imprisonment and his soldiers to death, fleeing south on his secret ships. He eventually reached a port town called Actium, where he found the fleet of a powerful king, Philip V of Macedon. The king welcomed Demetrius warmly, and the Illyrian exile quickly became one of Philip's most trusted advisors. Meanwhile, Rome again withdrew all their soldiers from the region. They left only their friendship behind, but they had sent a clear message to Macedon: Rome could and would intervene in the east. Let's step back and look at what had been happening in Macedon. After the death of the invader Pyrrhus of Epirus in 272 BC, King Antigonus II Gonatas firmly controlled Macedon and dominated the Greek city-states. Antigonus was a capable ruler who rebuilt Macedon's strength despite limited resources. He honored the graves of Macedon's ancient royal family, reorganized the provinces to make them more efficient, and kept Macedonian coins valuable. Antigonus used Macedon's powerful navy and strategic fortresses to move troops quickly wherever needed. When Athens led a rebellion supported by Egypt from 267 to 261 BC in the Cremonidian War, Antigonus crushed it. However, by the time he died in 239 BC, Macedon had lost some important fortresses. His son Demetrius II ruled for a quiet decade, but Macedon continued to weaken. When Demetrius died in 229 BC, his son Philip V was just a child. Macedon couldn't afford a child king in such dangerous times, so a distant relative named Antigonus Doson was chosen as regent. Antigonus Doson was one of the most capable but least famous Macedonian kings. He raised young Philip as his own son while energetically fighting Macedon's enemies. He marched north and expelled the Illyrians from Macedonian territory. He struck south and crushed the Aetolian League, a confederation of Greek cities that opposed Macedon. After securing the borders, Antigonus wisely gave up Macedonian claims to territories south of the Thermopylae Pass, focusing on consolidating and stabilizing the heartland. The army was so impressed they demanded Antigonus take the title of king. He accepted, but he didn't take away Philip V's right to the throne. He made Philip his official heir. After more victories, including being the first foreign army ever to capture the militaristic city of Sparta, Antigonus Doson died in 221 BC. He left behind a resurgent, stable, and increasingly powerful Macedon for the young Philip V. Shortly after taking the throne, Philip V faced another challenge. The Aetolian League declared war in 220 BC during what's called the Social War, believing Philip was too young and weak to lead effectively. This was exactly when Demetrius of Pharos arrived at Philip's court after fleeing from Rome. Meanwhile, catastrophic events were unfolding in the west. The Second Punic War had erupted in 218 BC. The brilliant Carthaginian general Hannibal had achieved the impossible, crossing the Alps with his army, including war elephants, to invade Italy. In 218 BC, Hannibal destroyed a Roman army at the Trebia River. In June 217 BC, he annihilated another at Lake Trasimene, killing 15,000 Romans in one of history's perfect ambushes. When news of these stunning Roman defeats reached Macedon, Philip V began to consider westward expansion at Rome's expense. Demetrius of Pharos enthusiastically encouraged this idea. After all, Rome had expelled him from his kingdom, and he wanted revenge. Philip accepted the advice. He ended the social war in Greece, drove the Illyrians from Macedon again, and in the winter of 217 BC had 100 light warships built. In summer 216 BC, Philip made his first attempt to secure Illyria's coastal region, but he fled home when he heard a Roman fleet was approaching. marching. Then came news of Hannibal's greatest victory, at Cannae in August 216 BC, where he destroyed the largest army Rome had ever assembled, killing over 50,000 Roman soldiers in a single day. This disaster prompted Philip to send ambassadors to Hannibal, proposing a formal alliance. He wanted to join what looked like the winning side and gain territory from the dying Roman Republic. According to the story, Philip's ambassador Xenophanes was captured by a Roman commander on his way to meet Hannibal. Xenophanes cleverly claimed he was actually going to make peace with Rome, and the Romans believed him and let him go. Unfortunately for Philip, Xenophanes was captured again on his return journey, this time with the formal Macedonian-Carthaginian treaty in his possession. This is how Rome learned that Philip V of Macedon had allied with their mortal enemy Hannibal. Philip intensified his aggression. He attacked the island of Corcyra in 215 BC. In 214 BC, he launched a major offensive. His land army marched north through Epirus into Illyria, while 120 Macedonian warships sailed up the Adriatic. Philip quickly captured two crucial port cities, Oricum and Apollonia, which could serve as staging points for invading Italy. The cities called to Rome for help. Despite fighting for their very survival against Hannibal in Italy, Rome sent help. The Roman commander Lavinus crossed the Adriatic with 55 heavy warships. He lifted the siege of Apollonia, recaptured Oricum, and drove the Macedonians away. Philip was forced to burn his ships and retreat overland to Macedon. Rome had blocked his path to Italy. Frustrated, Philip attacked inland instead, conquering several tribal territories in 213 and 212 BC. Rome didn't have the troops to stop him. They were still desperately fighting Hannibal. But in 212 BC, Philip reached the Adriatic coast again and captured the fortress of Lissus, another potential invasion staging point. Rome realized this eastern threat could no longer be ignored. Since Rome couldn't spare enough troops to defeat Philip directly, they used diplomacy as a weapon. In 211 BC, they made a treaty with the Aetolian League, which traditionally opposed Macedon. The Aetolians were convinced to join because Rome had recently won important victories against Hannibal at Capua and Tarentum. Maybe Rome wouldn't die after all. The treaty terms were generous to the Aetolians. They would get any captured cities, but Rome would get the valuable loot and treasure. Other Greek states joined the coalition, including Sparta, Elis, Messenia, and even the wealthy kingdom of Pergamon in Asia Minor. The First Macedonian War became a grinding, indecisive conflict. Rome captured some important towns, but Philip made gains against his Greek enemies. Attempts at peace talks in 207 BC failed because Rome deliberately sabotaged them. But by 206 and 205 BC, Rome was gradually forced to accept peace. The Treaty of Phoenix ended the fighting. However, it was clear that Rome's desire to punish Philip for attacking them during their darkest hour was not satisfied. Rome was slowly but surely winning the Second Punic War against Hannibal. Soon they would be able to turn their full fury against Macedon. When Philip V heard about Rome's final victory over Hannibal at the Battle of Zama in 202 BC, he didn't become more cautious. Instead, he became even more aggressive. He began attacking the overseas territories of Ptolemaic Egypt, which had fallen into chaos due to civil war and succession disputes. The Seleucid king Antiochus III was also seizing Egyptian territories. Philip and Antiochus apparently made a secret agreement to divide Egypt's possessions between themselves. This alarmed Philip's smaller neighbors, especially the wealthy island of Rhodes and the kingdom of Pergamon. They declared war on Philip in 201 BC. Despite some initial victories, Philip was eventually blockaded by the Rhodian navy. Knowing they were losing the war, Rhodes and Pergamon sent ambassadors to Rome, warning them about the secret pact between Philip and Antiochus to carve up the eastern Mediterranean. It was these smaller Greek states, ironically, who opened the gates for Roman domination of the Greek world. They saw Philip and Antiochus as the main threats to their independence, not distant Rome. They could never have imagined that by inviting Rome to intervene, they were sealing the fate of Greek independence forever. The Second Macedonian War was about to begin, a war that would culminate in one of ancient history's most decisive battles and would transform Rome from a Western Italian power into the master of the entire Mediterranean world. If you want to see part 2 covering the epic battle of Cynocephaly and Rome's final conquest of Greece, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Which ancient civilization fascinates you most, Rome, Greece, or Macedon? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this.